want you to lie down on your back. So this is another way of doing your ankle cars. Just gonna hug one knee. Then from here, we're gonna point the foot. Start by sweeping the foot to the inside. And then pull your foot up towards your shin. And then move the foot to the outside. And then go back to pointing it. So as big circles as you can do. We'll go for 5 each way. Try to make it smooth. Also, guys, try not to rotate the knee. So if you feel your knee rotating, try to relax that. All right, let's go back the other way for 5. Good stuff, guys. Once you've done 5, let's switch legs. So yeah, you may feel some parts of the rotation are kind of jerky. Try your best to smooth those out. So we learn how to control our joints better. Once you've done 5 one way, go back the other way. Try to make each rotation bigger than the last. All right, next one, guys. Once you've done those ones, we'll just do the kneecaps, so the patella. So just take your thumbs or your fingers and just move your kneecap around in a circle. Is that your bird, Denise? Denise, is that your bird we can hear?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
I didn't mute, I'm sorry.
All right, guys, back the other way with the kneecap. Spend a bit more time on the parts of the rotation that feel tighter, if you notice any. And let's switch to the other side. and change directions. Okay guys, we're going to move on to the knee itself. So first thing I want you to do, bend the knee on one leg. Bend it a bit more than we did last time. And just see if you can practice that rotation in and out. So remember, you use that outer hamstring muscle to rotate out. So that can help you feel the rotation. And try to keep that foot relaxed as well. So try not to move the ankle, just move that knee. Alright guys, just straighten your leg a little bit, and then we'll practice some more rotations. And then straighten it again a little bit more. Cool, and then let's switch sides. So that's a good exercise to practice rotating the knee before you actually do the full cars. So yeah, let's do 5 rotations back and forth with the knee flexed. And straighten it out a little bit more. And a little bit more. All right, guys. So that's our cars done for the ankles, patella, and we didn't do the full knee cars, but we practiced. So now we're going to move on to some stretches. So we're going to start with stretching out the hamstrings. I'm going to use my yoga blocks just as something to support my body. It's not necessary, but if you do have them, you can use them, or you can use a stick as well, that works. So what I want you to do is extend your front leg out and then rest on your back leg. Yeah. And then from there, we're just going to fold forwards, and you should feel a good stretch in the hamstrings. So just while we're here, guys, I want to talk a little bit about stretching and how you can vary your stretches. So for example, in this stretch, we can rotate our hip. So we can turn our hip out like this, and that's going to change the stretch. Or we can turn our hip in this way, and that's going to change it. We can also adjust the position of our ankle, so we can point the foot. That's going to be a different stretch. Or we can flex the foot. That's going to be a different stretch. And we can also bend our knee a little bit more or straighten the knee more. And all those little changes change where we feel the stretch. So I want you guys to find one of those variations that feels particularly tight to you and work on that. And it's always good to make slight variations with your stretches. Similar to doing exercises. So if you do bench press with the same grip and you do it with a bar every single time, you're always just training the same muscles, same lines of tissue in your muscles, and eventually you're going to plateau or you're going to possibly get injured. So you're much better off varying your grip with your bench press. So doing closer grip, wider grip, changing it to incline bench press, using dumbbells, using tempo. All those variations are going to challenge your body in different ways and make you stronger overall because you're strengthening all these different angles, and also going to reduce the risk of injury. So similarly with your stretches, you want to vary them, and that's going to make you more mobile overall. All right, guys, we're going to do our PAILs and RAILs. So PAILs, we're going to be driving our heel into the floor, so engaging our hamstring. And then RAILs, we're going to be squeezing our quad and hip flexor, trying to lift our leg off the ground. All right, guys, so 20% effort, just engage that hamstring. Gradually increase the effort. As long as it's not painful, come up to 60% and 80%. 3, 2, 1. Now squeeze the quad hip flexor as if you could lift your leg. 3, 2, 1, and back to a passive stretch. All right, guys, let's switch sides. So yeah, this is one good way to stretch out the hamstrings. So yeah, guys, just find some variation of the stretch that feels tight for you. Try to relax and melt into the position. Okay, let's start our PAILs. Engage that hamstring. Gradually push harder into the floor. Come up all the way to 80%. Create tension in the rest of your body. 3, 2, 1. Switch to the rails. Squeeze that quad hip flexor. Try to lift the foot. 3, 2, 1. Back to passive. Okay, guys, you can come out of that one. And we are going to move into the saddle. So basically all that means is you sit down on the knees, sit back on the heels and get a stretch in the quads. Now, a couple options for this. If you're not able to sit comfortably on the heels, take something and just sit a little bit higher up until you find a stretch that you can tolerate in the quads. Similarly, if it's too much on the ankles here, you can grab your towel or your ab mat, roll it up, and then place that underneath the ankles, and that should take the strain off the ankles. All right, guys. You can also adjust the position of your knees and your feet. So you can either have your knees wider or closer, or you can have your feet closer or further apart. Just find a good stretch for you. Stretching is all about finding what works for our own individual bodies. Cool, guys. All right, if you're comfortable here, feel free to lean back or lie back. You may notice that your quads are starting to loosen up, so you may be able to lean back a little further now. Maybe not. If not, that's totally fine. Okay, guys, you can come out of this one. We will be going back to that stretch later on, and we'll do a pails and rails later on. All right, guys, let's just do a short forward fold. It's just nice to straighten out the legs after being in the full knee bend there. So yeah, just straighten the legs out in front of you and lean forwards. We'll just do 1 minute on this. Okay, guys, come on out of this one. And I would like you guys actually to put some shoes on. We're gonna stretch it. We're gonna move on to the calves and the ankles, but it's actually better for this one to have shoes. Otherwise, it's a bit too hard on the feet. All right, guys. Yeah, I'll just go over the stretch while you guys put your shoes on. So you can take either a dumbbell or a yoga block, or I was saying maybe some books if you don't have a dumbbell or yoga block. You're just gonna set it up next to a post, or you could set it up. Let me change the camera. You could set it up next to a wall as well. All right, then you're gonna get your foot on the dumbbell like this with your knee straight, so you feel a stretch in your calf. If anyone doesn't have a dumbbell or a yoga block, you could also just wedge your foot up against the wall. And hopefully you'll feel a stretch in that position. All right, guys, so yeah, let's get into this one. If anyone doesn't feel the stretch or needs some help, just let me know. So for now, we have our knee straight and we should be feeling it in the calf. All right, guys. Just quickly, just give me a thumbs up if you feel like stretching your calf here. Guessing, is that a no, Ryan?
I couldn't hear you.
Oh, sorry. I just said, give me a thumbs up if you feel a stretch in your calf.
I feel a small stretch, but not a big one.
What do you have your foot on?
What's that?
What did you have your foot resting on?
A dumbbell.
Okay. You probably just need to push your knee forward more, or push your hips forward more. Yeah. So yeah, basically like do this motion.
Yeah.
And then you should feel it more in the calf.
It might be the dumbbell, to be honest with you. It's just too high. Can we reverse this and
Okay.
put our foot on the floor and lean into the floor type thing?
Yeah, so another option could be just push against the wall and then just have your back like straight like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I get a good stretch out of that, so I'll do that.
All right, cool. All right, guys, from here we're going to do our pails and rails. So the pails, we're going to be engaging the calf and pushing our foot into the dumbbell or whatever it's resting on, or the floor. Then our rails, we're going to be squeezing our tibialis, so it's our shin muscle, trying to pull the foot towards the shin. All right, guys, so 20% effort. Engage that calf muscle. Gradually increase it up to 80%. 3, 2, 1. Switch to the rails. Squeeze that shin muscle. 3, 2, 1. Back to a passive stretch. All right, we're going to stay on this side, but I just want you to bend your knee. And then just push your knee forward now. And it should change the stretch to you feeling it more in the Achilles or the ankle. However, I don't want you guys to feel any pinching at the front. You should always feel it along the back. So if you do feel any pinching, let me know. All right, guys, let's come out of this side and we'll switch to the other side. So starting off with our legs straight. So guys, for our squats, ankle mobility is huge. If your ankles are tight, you're not going to be able to get into a deep squat. You may notice that your heels start to lift as you go down into your squat. So improving that ankle mobility is going to really help your squats out. And that can be improving our calf flexibility, or it could be the Achilles. So with the leg straight, we're working more on the calf. Then when we bend the knee, it's moving more into the Achilles. All right, guys, let's start our pails. Push that foot into the ground, ball of the foot, engage that calf. Gradually wrap that up. Push as hard as you can without pain. 3, 2, 1. Now switch to the rails, squeeze that shin muscle. 3, 2, 1. Back to passive. Couple more seconds working on the calf, then we're going to bend the knee. All right, guys, just bend that knee. Again, make sure you don't feel a pinching sensation. All right, guys, come out of this one. And we're going to move to our couch stretch. So you may want a stick just to give you a bit of balance. And we've got a few options. You can go up against the wall. You may just want to pad your knees if you're going against the wall. Or you can actually use a couch or another piece of furniture. So what you're going to do is try to get one shin flat up either against the wall or against your couch, whatever it is. And then you're going to get your other leg into a lunge position like this. And then this may feel pretty intense already, in which case just stay in this position. Otherwise, you can come up tall like this. So guys, to do the stretch properly, I really want your knee right next to the wall. However, if it's completely impossible for you to do the stretch with your knee on the wall, then you can move it away a couple of inches. All right, guys, we're gonna hold this 2 minutes, and then we're gonna go for our pails and rails for the couch stretch. So this is really good for getting into the quads, some hip flexor as well, and trying to undo all the sitting that we have to do in modern life, whether that be at our desks or in the car. I went to the fight night last night, and I was sitting in our seats for maybe close to 5 hours, and my back started hurting. And normally I hardly sit at all because with my job I'm always on my feet, moving around, coaching. And then when I'm at home, I try to actually, if I'm relaxing, I just lie down on the sofa rather than sitting. So I started to tighten up, and my back was feeling stiff just from those 5-6 hours of sitting. And you guys probably sit like that almost every day, some of you, so it's no wonder that people can lose so much mobility. All right, guys. So for our pails, we're going to be driving our foot into the wall or the couch. Our rails, we're going to try to squeeze the glute, squeeze the hamstring, as if we could pull our foot away from the wall. So let's start that pails. Engage that quad. Push into the wall. Ramp it up. 3, 2, 1. Squeeze. Now squeeze the glutes. Try to engage the hamstrings. 3, 2, 1, and back to passive. All right, guys. Let's switch sides. Apologies for my sniffling today. My allergies must be acting up. So guys, on the topic of sitting, basically the less you do of it, the better. So one strategy you could use is set a timer. Say for example, half an hour. That just repeats and you get an alarm every half an hour. And when that alarm goes off, just stand up, take a little walk, maybe do some cars, and then before you go and sit down again. Also guys, I'm gonna release a video for you guys this week about posture. And most people think good posture means sitting up straight and bringing your shoulders back. But in reality, good posture is a constantly changing posture. So any posture that we stay in for too long isn't good. So even if you're sitting up straight and having your shoulder blades back, if you're in that position for too long, it's not good for your body because our bodies crave movement. So the best posture is your next posture. So try sit in different ways. Or the best thing would be if you have a standing desk or a convertible desk where you can sit and stand. Or maybe work at your kitchen countertop. Or maybe do some work sitting cross-legged. Or even do some work in a kneeling position. Basically, the more often you change your posture, the better it's going to be. All right, guys, let's do our pails and rails. So engage that quad, push into the wall. Gradually ramp that up. 3, 2, 1. Switch to the rails, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the hamstrings. 3, 2, 1. Back to passive. Another idea could be have walking meetings or walking phone calls. I think better when I'm walking anyways. All right, guys, come on out of this couch stretch. Well done on that. All right, we're gonna go back to our seated forward fold. Just as a quick counter stretch.
Hey, Dan, I just found that with that one, there was a lot of pressure on the knees from doing that one. I guess just more padding under the knees would work. Even I had a mat, but
Yeah.
it's still sore.
Yeah, exactly. I'd recommend, yeah, you can grab some towels, or if you do have your mat, but maybe it's a thinner mat, you can like double it over. Yeah, that would be my recommendations. All right, guys, last thing for today, I'm gonna go back to the saddle one more time. So again, if you need your yoga box to sit on or your towel underneath the ankles, grab those. So this time, guys, we're gonna do our pails and rails after our stretch. So for our pails, we're gonna be squeezing our quads, similar to the couch stretch, driving our feet into the ground. And then our rails, we're gonna be squeezing the glutes, squeezing the hamstrings to work on the other side. And feel free to lean back, lie back, if that is available to you. And make sure, guys, there's no painful sensations in the knees. Just a stretching sensation. All right, guys, let's do our pails. So engage the quads, as long as there's no pain. Kick your feet into the floor. Gradually increase it, as long as there's no pain, up to your maximum effort. 3, 2, 1. All right, now squeeze the glutes. Try to get a little engagement in the hamstrings. 3, 2, 1, back to passive. All right, one more thing before we come out of the stretch. I want you to just squeeze your right glute So you may feel more of a stretch now in the right quad. And relax that. Now just squeeze your left glute. And back to passive. Okay, guys, well done. Come on out of that one. And just lie down on your back. Straighten the legs out. So those are some ideas on how to stretch the hamstrings, the quads, calves, and the ankles. In my opinion, everyone should have the goal of being able to kneel and sit down kneeling comfortably. It's actually quite a natural way for humans to sit and rest, similar to the squat position. So for example, in Japan, when they're eating dinner, they actually just kneel on cushions rather than sitting in chairs. And keeping that mobility in the knees is definitely gonna help you avoid pain and keep your knees healthy throughout your life. And I know most of us probably, myself included, have tight hamstrings and tight ankles. And that's gonna affect our squats, and it's gonna affect our deadlifts. If the hamstrings are tight, that can often lead to us rounding our back. And that's when we can put too much stress on our back. All right, guys, well done for coming today. You should feel really good about taking this time to work on your mobility. So I want you to